By now, pay later has become so popular that many people think it's actually good for them, but we need to stop pretending that this is a normal and healthy way to do your shopping. It is not. This is a very interesting topic because there are so many layers to this psychological evilness. We're going to be talking about how they use social proof and authority, scarcity, loss aversion, herd mentality and cognitive dissonance to get us to buy more stuff than we would have otherwise. And if that sounds like a lot of psychology, it is. So just buckle up because we've got a lot to go through. When you first come across a buy now, pay later option at checkout, your brain doesn't know what to make of it. You've never seen anything like this before, so you're unsure how it works or what the catch is, but you decide to click on it anyways to find out. When you do that, it takes you to a page where you see a logo of a company that you've never heard of. They claim to be a payment platform trusted by over 1 million merchants and 60 million consumers. Whoa, 60 million consumers? You think that must mean that they're trustworthy, and this is called social proof. Social proof is when your belief about something is influenced by the actions or behaviors of others. Tea can be a really powerful motivator. For example, when you go to a restaurant, if all the other customers are happy and enjoying their food, then you're more likely to enjoy your meal too. This is because you're taking their behavior as a sign that the food is good and you don't want to be the only one who doesn't enjoy it. In the same way, seeing 60 million other consumers using a service can make you trust it more. But there's another thing that can increase your trust in these companies even more: authority. If someone with a lot of power or knowledge recommends something, then you're more likely to believe it. This is called the authority bias. That's why we tend to trust doctors more than our friends when it comes to medical advice, and it's also why we might trust an expert on TV more than our own judgment when it comes to home improvement projects. Now, a firm has been getting a lot of big players on board. They've partnered with Amazon, Walmart, Target, Shopify, and even some banks. These are all names that you recognize and you trust. By being associated with these brands, a firm is able to borrow some of their authority and make themselves look more trustworthy. This is a very clever marketing strategy because it works on two levels. First, you see the logos of these big brands and you think to yourself, well, if they're using a firm, then they must be okay. Second, you think to yourself, well, if all these other consumers are using a firm, then they must know something that I don't, and so you're more likely to go ahead and use it yourself, and this is called social proof. Social proof is when your belief about something is influenced by the actions or behaviors of others. Seeing other people using a product or service can make you trust it more and be more likely to use it yourself. Here's another trick they use: scarcity. Have you ever noticed that when you're shopping online and you see a limited time offer or a countdown timer, your heart starts racing and you feel a sense of urgency? You might start to panic and wonder if you're making the right decision. Well, that's exactly what these companies want you to do. It's called the scarcity principle, and it says that we tend to value things more when they're rare or hard to get. So if you see a limited time offer or a countdown timer, you're more likely to buy that item because you think it's scarce and valuable. But it's not just the product that's scarce, it's also the way you pay for it, because most of us are used to paying for things with credit cards or debit cards, which are always available to us whenever we need them. But with buy now pay later, that's not the case. With this service, you can only use it a certain number of times per year and you have to wait until you've paid off the previous purchase before you can make a new one, and that creates a sense of urgency and excitement. It's like a game of chicken to see who blinks first, you or the company, and if you blink first, you lose. But what if you could avoid playing that game altogether? What if you could just buy whatever you want whenever you want without having a credit check or a down payment or any of that other annoying stuff? Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, it's not. It's called the herding effect, and it happens when we copy the actions of others because we believe that they know something we don't. We think that if everyone else is buying something, then it must be a good deal. But we don't realize that everyone else is thinking the same thing. We also don't realize that the price of that item probably hasn't changed. It's just that now we're paying for it in installments instead of one lump sum, and that makes it easier to justify the purchase in our heads. We think, oh, it's only 30元 a month. No, big deal. But what we don't realize is that if we were to add up those 30元, we would end up paying much more than we would have if we had just bought the item outright. And that's why it's important to remember that just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean it's a good idea. You should always do your own research and make sure it's right for you. So you may be wondering, why do people keep falling for this trap? Why don't they learn from their mistakes and stop? Well, that's where cognitive dissonance comes in. Cognitive dissonance is when your beliefs and actions don't align. For example, if you believe that smoking is bad for you, but you still smoke, then you have cognitive dissonance. To reduce that dissonance, you might start to convince yourself that smoking isn't actually that bad for you, or that it's not that big of a deal. And that's what these companies want you to do. They want you to ignore the red flags and rationalize your way into using their service. That's why you often see phrases like buy now, pay later, or pay interest free. It's designed to trick your brain into thinking that you're getting something for nothing, but really you're just signing up for a debt that you can't afford. And if that sounds like a lot of psychology, it is, but we need to stop pretending that this is a normal and healthy way to do your shopping. It is not. You're basically signing up for a loan that you don't understand, and that's not something you should do lightly. Before you hit that confirm button, you should ask yourself 3 questions. Can I afford this? Do I really need this? And is this the best way to pay for it? If you're not sure about any of those things, then you shouldn't go ahead with the purchase. But if you do go ahead and confirm, you won't be able to undo it. You'll be locked into a contract that you probably don't understand, and you'll be paying for it in ways that you didn't expect. And here's the thing, we all want to believe that we're smart, rational people who make good decisions. But the truth is, we're all susceptible to cognitive biases and heuristics. We're all prone to making mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes can cost us a lot of money. That's why it's important to be aware of the tricks that these companies are playing on us. It's also why it's important to talk about these things with our friends and family. We need to educate ourselves and each other so that we can protect ourselves from falling for these scams. So let me ask you, have you ever used a buy now, pay later service? How was your experience? Let us know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up. Thank you for watching.